Is it not the blood of men? There's a story in the Old Testament in 2 Samuel chapter 23. And that chapter is actually designated as the last words of King David and just some highlights from his life. And there's a story that I love there where David was, in one of the many campaigns that he was involved in, the Philistines had actually gained control of Bethlehem, and David was in just where the camp of his men. And he was, of course, they were trying to get Bethlehem back, I think, if I understood correctly. And so he pined for the water of Bethlehem, for some water from one of the wells in Bethlehem. Well, some of his servants, it was an army, but some of his underlings heard that and wanted to do something good by their king. And so they fought their way into Bethlehem and were able to bring back some water from Bethlehem for David to drink. But when they did that, he actually poured it out on the ground and he said, "I can't drink this water. Is it not the blood of men?" Because the strong men had killed several Philistines, was the assumption I made, to get to that well. And while this story, I don't know that David embodied this insight 100% in his life. That's not the point of my video. But it is an insight. Is this not the blood of men? And if we can expand the definition of blood to mean any suffering or disadvantage that we might have from our fellow human beings. It's why people, blood diamonds, why some people will not buy or wear diamonds because of the blood, or it comes on the backs of those who, I'm not conversant in it, but there's, some oppression and bloodshed that takes place in that, or used to at least. I don't know what it is very much, or the people who care about where they buy their clothes because they don't want to buy clothes from some factory, where that come from a factory in a country where, women or even children, or it doesn't have to be women or children, it can be men who are working in subpar conditions, subpar money. They don't want to take off the backs of other people for something good for themselves. And of course, this doesn't have to be in far countries. This can be in just our daily lives, about what kind of choices we make for our own advantage, and whether they take blood or some other kind of translation out of our fellow beings. And in that case, in David's case, the blood was of his so-called enemies, and so even to him, all the blood of all men was precious. And it's difficult. We can make ourselves crazy, I think, in the Good Place, that television show that I absolutely love. I think it's in season 3, long about the second half of season 3. There is a discussion a storyline regarding the complexity of our choices, and it to a degree, it's impossible to know everything that we do that may or may not have a good or bad benefit in the world at large, some kind of butterfly effect. So it's impossible to know everything, but we can begin. Even just if we're having an argument with someone, does our need to be right what good is that? Just because we come away with the prize in an argument, was it worth the loss of the relationship, for example? I mean, it's about a priority. But where other people saw water David saw blood. And so that's a perspective to keep as we think about our inner peace, other people's, the peace that we can contribute to our neighbors, our close relationships, and certainly in the world. We can really think about the exchanges that are taking place and really try to make beautiful endings for everybody, and not just make sure it's not the blood of men that we are drinking from. Okay, we'll see.
I talk a lot on YouTube.